Hello, welcome to the first of these AIS developer videos. The subject today is root, what it means, why you might want to do it, and how to root any Android device. I hope you can see my Android device down here and my desktop screen over here. This is a high-resolution video which contains a lot of detail, so please watch it full screen on a large HD monitor. As a test, please make sure you can read the text where I'm pointing the mouse cursor now. You should be able to see the instructions that I'm typing in. If you cannot, please switch to another monitor. So, what root access is? We're connected via a USB cable to the Android device from the desktop, which means we can use ADB to access it. We've just typed ADB-D shell. If you don't already have a USB ADB link set up, you'll see how to install it later in this video using the SDK. As you can see, ADB is connected as user shell to host ZeroFlight. This user has limited abilities. ls to list the contents of the current directory, pwd to print the working directory. But if we want to do much more on the device, we need root access. This is achieved by running su for super user. Without root access, we're not even allowed to look to see if su has been installed, which su tells us its location, which is /system/xb. That is all that root access is, a working su installed on the device. Now to why would we root a device? There are many things that you might want to do with your device, which the manufacturer either didn't think of or has blocked due to security concerns. But if you own a device, you should certainly have unrestricted access to it. With each release of any operating system, not just Android or iOS, more functionality is removed. This is simply because as security vulnerabilities come to light, it's very easy to remove functionality. It's much more difficult and time-consuming to fix flaws. So typically, manufacturers will simply remove or block functions. Therefore, with every OS release, more users find they need root access to continue to use their device as they have before. The result is that rooting becomes more common, in fact reaching mainstream, so has more supporters, is better documented, and easier and more necessary to achieve. Whatever your device, chances are you can root it one way or another. Which takes us to the final section, how to root a device. Now, first off, we need to know the exact model that you're trying to root. If you have the AIS information app installed, you can get everything you need from it. We have it here. If not, if you don't have this app installed, I will show you later how to get most of this information from settings. We're going to be writing down several long character strings. I suggest you type them into a text editor. Here's my text editor. I've already typed them in for this particular device. So, from the AIS information app, first of all you're going to need the Android version. For mine it's 5.0.2. And the CPU ABI identifier. For us, for more recent, more powerful devices, it'll be ARM64. So this is ARM64-V8A. Older devices will probably be ARM. We'll put that in as well. We also want the bootloader and baseband versions. Yep, bootloader, baseband versions. You'll notice that they are similar, just differing at the end. We also want the internal product name. Here, ours is Zero Flight XX. And then of course we want the manufacturer and model name, in this case Samsung SN G920F, and of course it's a Galaxy S6. You'll see how we use these data later. If you don't have the AIS Info app, you can use the device settings to get most of this. Swipe down from the top and select the gear icon. It may be slightly different on your device how to get to this information. We scroll to the very bottom where we can see About Device. Settings are arranged in various ways. You may have to look around to find your About Device. From this dialog, we can copy most of the information we got earlier. Also, from here, the build number is sometimes needed. There's the build number. You can see there Android version, model number, baseband version. For the CPU, it's usually not there. You need to look it up on GSM Arena. Here's GSM Arena. Just search for your manufacturer and model name, and you'll see that the CPU on this one, under Platform CPU, is the Cortex A57. If we cut and paste that into Google and search for it, typically you'll get a link, probably on the ARM site itself, which tells us that the Cortex A57 is an 8A chip, 64-bit, a 64-bit chip. That's all we need. So it's ARM64. And we put that into our device list if we haven't already. ARM64. While we're on the About Device menu, we also, if you haven't already, need to enable developer options. The way to do that is to tap on build number 7 times. As you tap, you'll eventually get toasts reporting your progress. As you can see, I already have mine's already activated. Now if we go back to the settings menu, you'll see that developer options is there. If you didn't have it before, you should now have it. Inside developer options, we need to enable USB debugging. You can see mine's already enabled. On some devices, you may also need to enable OEM unlocking. So have a look through. If it says something like OEM unlock or OEM bootloader unlock, something like that, we want to enable that. There are 2 or more areas of memory that we will need to flash to gain root access. Our goal is to flash a new operating system, which doesn't share the limitations of the stock. To do that, we first need to replace the bootloader, which may additionally require a bootloader unlock. Some manufacturers have a bootloader lock, which means that you can't change the bootloader without first doing either an OEM unlock or hacking it. Other devices, such as Google's own Nexus, don't require this. Find out if your device has a bootloader lock and how to fix it on XDA Developers' website. Here is XDA Developers. You'll see some of the more popular devices right there on the home screen. Search for your device. Let's just take a look, for example, HTC. This will explain all sorts of things about what if you need to hack it, or if there's an official unlock, anything specific to your device. There is also a useful article on How To Geek, which explains the official way to OEM unlock. It's not always available. Sometimes you have to hack it. Sometimes there's an official one. Once you have unlocked your bootloader, the next step is to install a more capable one. The bootloader is a small piece of code. It's run when the device is first switched on. It might provide a menu for doing other tasks, or if left alone, it will simply load the operating system itself. The bootloader I recommend for all Android devices is TWRP. Here is TWRP running on a device. If you boot into the right mode by holding down a combination of buttons on boot, you'll get a menu from which you can, among other things, replace the operating system. TWRP stands for Team Win Recovery Project. On their website is a long and impressive list of supported devices. If you click on a device from the list, it will explain how to install TWRP. Here's our device. Don't install TWRP until you have a replacement OS-ROM sitting on your device in /SD card. To select which particular operating system ROM you would like to install, I suggest you first look at CyanogenMod. If you go to the Devices page on CyanogenMod's site and select your vendor, ours is Samsung, you can then scroll down until you find your device. CyanogenMods is the best ROM available, but it usually takes a year or more to become available for a particular model. So if your device is quite new, you'll need to choose a different ROM, or just wait until it's ported to your phone. If you plan to wait, turn off OTA updates. That'll be system updates, as each release can make it more awkward to root. On the devices screen of CyanogenMod, as we looked here, we can scroll down the list of supported devices to see if ours is there. Here we go, Note 3, Galaxy S2, Galaxy S3, S4. You notice they have all the different model variations. That was why it's important to write down that information that we did earlier to get exactly the right model. Now you'll notice our device isn't yet available. We had to find a different ROM in order to get root access. But we can see one here that is the Samsung Galaxy S5, and we can use that as an example. Here's the internal product name, Kite. You notice that there are different variants of a model for different markets. So if we had the Chinese version, it would be Kite CHN. But we're going to use Kite as an example. We would have got that from the text that we typed earlier. Our model, remember, was 0 Flight XX. If this was a Galaxy S5, that might say Kite. We click on it. It's important to get exactly the right one, that's why we do that. If you do get the wrong ROM when you're installing, you run the risk of bricking the device. That is, to turn it into an inert lump, no more useful than a brick. Not so useful unless you're building a wall. These steps are similar for any ROM, most of which are detailed on XDA Developers Forum. We click on our model, choose the release version, and download the latest build snapshot. So we've chosen the Galaxy S5, the release channel, and here you can see the latest snapshot build is here, which we download. We have already downloaded it. Also note the CM version, the CyanogenMod version, from within the zip file name. You'll see ours is version 13, so it's CM13. Now let it download. There's no need to open the zip. TWRP will automatically do that for you later. Now, go back to the model page to read the instructions to install. Click on Installation Instructions. This will take you through installing the bootloader and then the operating system. When we have a ROM, we also want a second ROM file containing some Google stuff to give us the Play Store and services, from which we can then install anything else. Go to opengapps.org, choose your platform, an Android version. The platform here, we're just talking about the CPU type. If you remember, we discovered that ours was ARM64. Yours is typically ARM if it's an older device, ARM64 if it's a new device. ARM64. We also know that it's 5.0.2. Again, from our device list, the Android version number. And then select Nano. Nano gives you just enough to get other Google apps later as you choose. So download the zip file from here. Again, we've already downloaded it. When they've downloaded, copy them to /SD card on your device. We will use ADB to do this because it's particularly easy. You might use any one of a variety of tools. For example, on your Android you could use ES File Explorer to do the same thing, perhaps copying it from a network drive. The instruction we use here, ADB-D to get the first USB device, push, then the name of the file, cm-13, and then of course tab it, and the destination SD card /. And that will upload that file to the SD card location where TWRP will later access it. We then do the same thing to upload the Google Apps zip file. When it's finished uploading. Now, we use ADB, Fastboot and other tools for a number of tasks. They're most easily installed by installing the free Android Studio SDK. You can download it from developer.android.com. Go through the complete install on your desktop or laptop. Now we want to install TWRP. The instructions differ for each device, but you can find them on twrp.me. if you choose your particular device on the list of devices supported. Or you can find instructions on XDA Developers Forum. Now, here are the instructions that we've just brought up for the Galaxy S6, the device that we're using at the moment. It uses Odin on Windows to install the bootloader. We need the no root required instructions, of course, because we don't yet have root access. Later on, if you want to change the bootloader, it's much easier, usually involving a free app from the Play Store. The procedure usually involves booting while holding various key combos or being USB connected to a desktop or laptop. You'll likely need the key combos for download/recovery mode. Easiest way to find them is to Google it for your device and recovery mode. For the S6, these are power down, that means completely switch it off, then hold volume down, home and power simultaneously while powering up. Don't let go of all of those three buttons until you see a warning screen or a menu. Also, that will get you into your download mode for then to use Odin or Fastboot or whichever tool you choose to use to get TWRP across. Also, when you first boot with that new bootloader in, don't boot without holding any buttons down, because that will then, the stock ROM will often then try to replace it back again with its own bootloader. So we immediately want to replace the OS as well. That's why we got ready with our choice of OS ROM in the /SD card location earlier. There go the Google apps now, uploaded. Once your TWRP bootloader has got as far as recovery mode, you're presented with this menu. Follow the instructions for your ROMs to install your OS and Google zip files, the ones we put in that SD card earlier. Your ROM will have detailed click-by-click instructions for these TWRP menus. This whole procedure is quite technical, so don't attempt it if you don't feel confident that you understand what is happening. Some of you will be blocked from access to one or more of the developer resources above by firewalls. If you are, please try installing Tor from here, the Tor project, or post the names of the files you're unable to access, such as ROM files or whatever, in the comments below, underneath the YouTube video, and we'll get them to you. Good luck, and that's the end of our first video.